What's good, y'all? It's your boy Yatta.
It's your boy Sam.
You tuned in to another episode of the Envelope Pushers.
Yes,
Want to tell me what the Envelope Pusher is?
I got you. So, envelope pusher means testing the limits and trying out new, often radical ideas. Hey man, we back.
100.
We back with another episode, man. Feel like
Bag.
it's been forever.
Right? Hopefully y'all checked out our last two episodes. I feel like those are real good. We talk about the Black family.
Yes, we got to build with the sister Ashley.
Yeah.
And her podcast, The Point Is. Shout out to her for coming on and talking with us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's brilliant, man. We had a real good build.
Yes.
For sure. But so for today's topic, right, we're gonna talk about something that's been going on a lot in the news as of recent. And we're gonna talk about, just policing, right? And the two instances in particular we're gonna talk about, well, let's start off with the first one. We're gonna talk about Lieutenant Nazario, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was Officer Joe Gutierrez, I believe that's how you pronounce that, right? And you want to break down, what happened in the video and probably what everybody's been seeing.
I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it. So Lieutenant Nazario, he's in the military, of course. Lieutenant, gotta show respect. But we get the video, we get some body cam footage of police officers pulling over a African American male in a military uniform. Guns already pointed, already drawn, and it escalates from there. And we see, Lieutenant Nazario receiving few orders saying that he's scared for his life. Oftentimes a sentiment that we hear in other videos where we see unarmed African-American people. So then he was pepper sprayed. We got some of that on body cam. After saying that he was scared for his life, the officer actually yelled out, "As you should be. You should be scared."
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
and it's like too, like the whole thing that he was doing, because I'm not sure like what the traffic stop was for.
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I see a couple stories going around.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have plates or he didn't stop immediately, but his excuse was that he wanted to stop in a well-lit area. I believe that was
which you can actually do that. Like
Yeah.
you can do that. Like there's a gas station nearby. It's like, all right, man, I want to pull in here, so people can see what's going on.
And something,
you know what I'm saying?
Something the community has been teaching the younger generation as well as the older generation, stop in a well-lit area where people can see you, where there's cameras at, to kind of protect yourself. And that kind of goes into why he was saying, "Yo, I'm scared," so I don't blame him for that reason. But, people try to find any excuse to kind of negate the fact that somebody was a victim to police brutality.
100. Oh, the point I was gonna make too is like, so they asked him to get out, but as like we looked at Philando Castile, right? Because they're gonna ask for ID and stuff like that. They asked him to unbuckle his seatbelt, right? And even with the Philando Castile incident, right? He actually reached for his wallet. He told the police officer, "Yo, I'm reaching for my wallet," right? They told him he could do it. He reached for his wallet and they killed him.
Yeah.
So when people see like his hands are up, and it might be like, oh, maybe he wasn't listening, but that's not the case. He even said like, "Yo, y'all can unbuckle your seatbelt for me. I don't even want to reach down."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because how dangerous it is. And that's another reason, because it's like, I got to, get my ID, unbuckle my seatbelt, whatever, but they can kill me for that. It's like these police encounters, it's so easy to get killed, it seems like. You know what I'm saying? And you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
For the smallest things.
Right.
And I've seen people talking about, oh, he could have just de-escalated the situation by, not, by complying and listening to what they said. They could have all been stopped. But you're saying that from a perspective from watching on video. If two police officers had their guns pulled out on me when it's just a basic traffic violation, possibly, yeah, I'm the same way, hands up in the air, and I'm not making any sudden move, because we see what happens if you make any sudden move. That could be your life. And this is an issue that we see with police. Like, they take it to the next level, and we always get the excuse, well, they have difficult jobs. And why are you a police officer? If you can't handle these situations, if you're not being trained for these type of situations, then it's going to create a mixing pot of disaster. As we've continued to see for decades and hundreds of years, but on camera now for the past 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. And even with that too, like it's crazy because not the saying that even if he did resist, I don't really deserve getting abused, whatever. Like, you know, if he resists,
Exactly.
get arrested, whatever, you know, like everybody else. But he was actually being very compliant. Like he was
Yes.
actually like, it was not difficult. He stood right there. He didn't drive off. He wasn't even arguing with the officers. He said, "I'm complying. My hands are up. Do what you need to do." I feel like that was fine.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I'm saying?
they turned it up to another level. The
Yeah,
I forgot the officer, the lame, the scumbag officer
yeah.
who
Gutierrez.
yeah, who we
Yeah,
heard basically speaking the whole time and yelling out orders to him, trying to figure out his rank too. And you could see where it's like this power struggle, even in the speaking, in the language that he's using. He's asking him, "Hey, what's your rank?" Okay, whatever your rank is, lieutenant, whatever.
yeah.
And then it goes to still pepper spray him. Like there's no respect for even our veterans, our active duty members. If you're of color, they still don't respect you in that sense of, hey, you know, we're not gonna throw you to the ground. We're not gonna beat you up in your uniform. You know, if you feel unsafe, you know, then we're gonna handle the situation and make it to where you are safe. You're not posing a threat to us other
Mm-hmm.
than he's in a uniform. And I feel like I believe that, you know, the only reason why that officer went to that extreme is because he felt like he was less than, and this is an opportunity for him to be the boss, be the big guy. Because even the other officer that was with him, I believe he sounded much younger. I don't know his name, but he was even trying to like, okay, I'm just gonna unbuckle the seatbelt to get this situation and get this process moving. And the other
Mm-hmm.
officer is like, no, don't touch anything, don't do it,
Yeah, that's
you know,
right.
don't
That's
don't do
right. Yeah.
nothing.
Like he
No, have
created
him
the
do it.
problem. Yeah.
Yes, and he's like, no. After Lieutenant Nazario had already been pepper sprayed, couldn't see, and I never experienced pepper spray, but I know that's like a rite of passage
Yeah,
for
I've heard.
like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not a pretty scene. But even then, they're commanding these orders that we've seen in other situations where people are being told orders with guns in their face in high stress level situations where they're supposed to remain calm with pepper spray in their eyes and they can hardly breathe. Even the officer was choking himself from the pepper spray. So I just
Yeah.
found that crazy, that what they expect, and maybe that's how the officer felt. Maybe he felt, you know, smaller than him after, you know, seeing who he was and what type of car he was driving in.
For sure. Yeah, even with that too, like because police, they're really supposed to de-escalate the situation, right? And like we said, the brother made it easy for him. You know, he
Mhm.
wasn't resisting or none of that. But also another thing I could point out, like when people are in like high stress, when they feel endangered, it's just natural, like human instinct. We have a fight or flight response. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So even if like somebody does do that, it's like, yo, like the officer should really be trying to calm the situation down. Because what if somebody gets into that mode where it's like survival? Then I might die.
Yeah.
It's fight or flight.
And it's the
You
same
know what I'm saying?
excuse, yes, and it's the same excuse they give officers when they make
Yeah,
mistakes, and we'll talk about that later on our next little part that we have. But they always give that to an excuse for officers, but never just regular civilians who've never been through a police training academy,
mm,
who never wanted to actually do this. Take away, you know, Lieutenant Nazario, because I'm pretty sure he's dealt with high stress situations, and he handled that greatly. But regular citizens that never have been put in these situations, and we're expecting them to react a certain way, in any way that they react, we've seen end results that
yeah.
don't go with the status quo of what's supposed to happen after encountering a police officer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's crazy. And another point I want to bring out is I believe didn't the body cams turn off once they got him to the ground? Like
Yeah,
mysteriously, body
yeah,
cams just shut off. Like
yeah.
what's up with that?
uh, it's always something mysterious with a body cam, you know, going out, you know. One thing I'm happy, you know, body cams are in place. You know, the sad thing is we have to see everything on video up until everybody, you know, sometimes some people's death, but we have to see the brutality on video, which is hard to consume every other month that we see it. But oftentimes, you know, these body cams are getting cut off or randomly shut off or randomly stop working once altercations start happening. And this becomes a black area where, you know, nobody knows what's happening, and opportunity for police officers to create their own story, and also for their captains or higher ups to curate a story and able to give out to the public, because of course we didn't see it. So, that could have had spun in any other way. And luckily Lieutenant Nazario was able to come out with his life. But I did want to mention too, when other cops showed up on the scene, they ended up talking to Lieutenant Nazario and basically saying, hey, I know he was saying he was scared for his life. And the other cops were saying, hey, we know all this stuff with BLM, they're scared for their lives too. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
Are
what is
we,
that? That
are,
had nothing to do. Like,
and I'm going to say, are police playing tit for tat with regular civilians?
yeah,
Is that
it's like a get back at you kind of
Yeah,
thing. That's what it
is
sounds
it
like to
tit for
me.
tat? Is it like, okay, well, with BLM, we're scared of this, so we have to be on high alert and we have to treat you this way because BLM? No, it doesn't work like that. For one, BLM is an organization. It's not a single person. You can't say everyone is part of something just because because they're from African descent. That's not how it works. But I
Yeah,
can label you because you are in a police uniform. That's how that works. That's crazy to me that he even showed up on the scene
yeah.
to say something like that. That it's even coming up in conversation to justify unjust treatment.
That's crazy, and it's almost kind of like a gang, right? That seemed kind of like it's like a they're trying to make it like a turf war, right? A
Yeah,
lot of these police be moving around like gang members for real. You
and
know what I'm
they
saying?
don't
Like
want to hear
that's
that.
how they do. It's like
They
a
don't want to hear
brotherhood to
that.
them. They will defend each other,
They not
even though they know
snitching.
they are wrong, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that stuff is very comparable to just a gang. Is really is what it comes down to sometimes, you know?
yeah. They not snitching. They moving in silence. They spinning the story. Everybody staying with one code. If you go against it, you kicked out or you shunned. So
Right,
it makes it even hard for we hear the ACAB, all cops are bad and things of that nature. And there's ones that people be like, okay, they're good, yeah, but they're silent. So there's good
right,
people in gangs. There's gang members that help the community more than anybody, more than reverends, more than church leaders
hmm
have. But they still got the gang tattoos on them, so they're affiliated with something bad, and so they still get grouped up in there. So that's where a lot of that ACAB stuff starts coming from. And I don't want to get too deep in that because that goes down a whole hole. But they
yeah,
do move
for
like
real.
a gang, essentially. They do.
Yeah, and that, like you said earlier, like it makes it hard because like I won't say every single person that wants to become a police officer wants to kill somebody or something, because there may be some people that have the mindset that it's like maybe I want to do right,
Mhm.
but sometimes your time to do right is holding your fellow officers accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really what is like probably one of the biggest things that needs to change with policing is like accountability, right? And
Yeah.
we'll get into that later at the end. And the next topic we want to talk about now, this one got some huge attention too in the Daunte Wright situation, right?
Yeah. R.I.P. man. Rest in
Yeah,
rest in
rest
peace,
rest in
man.
peace,
That's
man.
crazy.
That
That's
brother should not
crazy.
have got killed. But yeah, and if y'all haven't heard about that, so basically this is in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. It was a traffic stop, and I heard things like it was about like an air freshener in his window, but then later they said like it was for like expired tabs or something like that.
Hmm.
But anyway, it was a traffic stop, and I guess he had a warrant or something too. So they were gonna take him in. Unfortunately, the brother tried to go back in his car and drive off. That's the decision he made.
Yeah.
And officer Officer Kim Potter, right, who actually resigned today, but she pulled out
There
her
is.
weapon, right, and she pulled out her gun, and she said taser, taser, and shot him one time. And then the brother drove off, and she dropped the gun and said like I shot him,
Hmm.
right? And that's kind of like the incident that went into play. And I mean, the first thing I want to say is he did try to drive away, but that doesn't mean he should have died. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And a lot of people try to justify that, but literally fleeing the police, you can see, I believe it's like a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
You could be like on probation 1 year in jail. Nowhere does it say execution or death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A
And
lot of
I
people try
think
to make it.
and I believe the other side. I'm gonna just call them the other side.
Yeah.
Me. But the other side always tries to justify a reason for somebody to die. Oh, he had a warrant out for his arrest, so he deserved to die, or he was a criminal, so he deserved to die. What are you? No, that's
Yeah.
not how this works. You know, just because, you know, you might probably, because just because you probably made a mistake does not mean you deserve to die. That's not how this works. It's never worked like that. That's why some states don't even allow the death penalty anymore. So, you know, in situations like this, unfortunately, the brother did try to take off. And I did, you know, Yatta brought up something important. I don't know if it was pre-production or during while we were just talking just now, because we've been building on this. But
Facts.
that whole fight or flight, you know, mindset, you know, when there's a lot of police, especially for African American males, just Black people in general, you know, we get that now. We've seen it. It's trauma now. It's just like when we see dogs sometimes. You see them dogs barking, you know, behind the cage, or they get loose or something, you going to take off. You're not thinking they finna do nothing nice or nothing like that. Not trying to, you know, justify his reason or saying it was okay for him to run off or, you know, try to get back in his car. But just saying, you know, we all respond to stressful situations differently. So can y'all, if you want to speak on that fight or flight mentality that some people may have, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure, right? Especially when the police make it like we said, like for the first instance, made it a real stressful situation. You know what I'm saying?
Super.
And maybe that brother, like, I mean, like I would have wanted him maybe to just, you know, figure it out at the station or something like that, you know, and like he made his choice, unfortunately, you know, but kind of like we summed up, he shouldn't have got shot, you know,
Yeah,
and
at all.
yeah, you know, like that's not it. And also, since we talking about, like, you know, the actual part where he got shot, so the officer mistake her. This is a veteran too, right? Because when I first saw this, right, and what happened was she pulled out her gun instead of her taser.
She's been
And I,
in the force for years
she
now.
she's a veteran. Now, when I first saw it, I'm like, well, that's a rookie mistake. Like, why is she even a police officer? She's
Mm-hmm.
been a veteran for a long time. So it's like, how do you make that mistake? You know? And I also learned something too. So the police officer, their dominant hand is where their pistols at, right? That's their dominant hand, and their non-dominant is where the taser's at. And then they have different weights too, like different, like, so it was really confusing to me of like how she confused that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and stuff like that, that blows my mind, you know. And you know, me, when I'm in certain situations, you know, it's hard for me to think quick on my feet. But also too, I'm not forced. My profession isn't forcing me to know gun safety or know how to wield a gun or know how to wield a taser at the same time. And for her to even say, "Oh, I shot him," and then think it was her taser, I feel like it was a sorry and lame excuse. Um, for any officer to pull, it just shows how there is no accountability. And like we said, we're gonna talk about it later, but how there is no accountability for even simple mistakes. You know, even if you mistakenly hit somebody with your car, you still gonna get charged with something. Something
Manslaughter.
is,
Yep.
yeah, somebody
Yeah, you're still going to prison.
that's still gonna be on your record. You still going like
Hmm.
this. There's no accountability, and where they can just come up with anything. Oh, I thought it was my taser.
Yeah.
You don't get to just think it was your taser in these professions where it's life or death. You know,
Hmm.
doctors aren't going to say, "Oh, I thought that was this drug and I gave them this drug and it was okay." No, they get taken to court.
There's
You know,
consequences, right?
there's
Yeah.
consequences for stuff like this. So for her even to say, "Oh, I thought it was my taser," and then to come to find out that you're a veteran, you're not new to this at all. So for this to even happen is bananas. It's crazy. And then for her captain or whoever that was above her who ended up speaking, for him to even come out and come with that lame excuse like, "Oh, from my determination and from my review, it did seem like a mistake." No, this is sending out the wrong message. You know,
Right.
and I believe he ended up resigning too. But this is
Yeah, he
sending out the
resigned.
wrong message. This is how they roll. This is how they interact together. They realize it's a mess up and they try to spin the story and flip it around in order to feed it to the public. But it's starting to get tired and old of the whole mistake thing. Everything has always been a mistake. When are we going to start holding these people accountable now?
Right. And then I like how you brought it up too. Like, if me or you were to accidentally kill somebody, even if it was an accident, right? We didn't mean to, it wasn't our intention. We're still gonna get some time in manslaughter, right?
Yes, yes, we're still getting
We're
that
still going to
penalty.
prison.
It could be an
Exactly.
honest mistake. Somebody could accidentally run out into the street or be in a crosswalk or something. We're still going to feel the repercussions of our accident, of our incident, but they just get to resign. They just get to resign and take whatever package they had. And no, why do they get that? Why, you know? And of course, everybody gonna say it's a hard profession. Yes, it's a hard profession. Thank you to, you know, shout out to them that, you know, stepped up to the plate. But we can't shout out all of them if this is what it's like. You know, we can't even be proud of the police anymore. Like, we can't be proud of the police, you know, of course, of the origin where they came from, you know, starting as overseers and then working their way up as we got free and moving around and able, you know, starting the whole prison
slave catchers.
Yeah, whole, exactly. So even then, but they make it so difficult to even be in these places and to be driving. These are 2 traffic stops. These are
things
just,
we do every day.
this isn't even,
I get in my car every day, and I'm sure you know what I'm saying. Like,
this isn't even. They're not even coming for crime. They're not even coming because there was a crime committed. They're nothing. These are just traffic stops, and people are either, you know, at the hand of police brutality, or they're getting killed. This is crazy. It's madness, and it's getting to the point. I'm like, I'm tired of even talking about it because they get off so much, and all they have to do is resign. That's all they have to do.
Right. And it's almost like, because, you know, like we brought up, right? Like, we're going to get charged for something like that. It's almost like they're above the average citizen, because where's the charges? Even if you accidentally kill somebody, there's consequences.
Of course.
Where is the consequence for police officers? You know what I'm
saying? And they can just spin the story or move around some evidence, make sure everybody stay quiet and this and that. No, it, like you said, they're above the law. They are the law and they're above it. And there's an old saying, the ones who make the rules break the rules. And the people who enforce the rules break them too. And they're the number one perpetrator of it now. And I don't care about statistics or none of that, or if it was the other hand or the other way. I don't want to hear none of that. This is a profession that they chose to do. That means you need to be a professional. You need to be elite at your job. Other professionals do not make it like this at all. Any other profession, they do not get to slide by like this. And that's the crazy part. Athletes and entertainers, if you're not good, you're not making it. You're not going to be here. If you're a doctor, you've went through test after test after test to even make it to that far. You're not going to be there if you don't qualify. And the training needs to be there as well.
For sure. And that kind of goes into our next topic, you know, just police accountability and training. And I feel like that's a big thing. I don't think these police officers are necessarily trained right per se, you know. And I'm not like super knowledgeable like on the training, you know what I'm saying? Because I ain't been to the academy and stuff like that. But like I've heard it's almost like even military police, I heard, don't get trained like police officers do. There's even more precautions and more, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just be more to it. Like maybe like stress test or something. Like, how do you do under pressure, right? Are you gonna shoot somebody and get trigger happy under pressure, or are you gonna de-escalate the situation? You know what I'm saying? Are you afraid of black people? If so, maybe you shouldn't be working in these communities. And that's another big problem, right?
Maybe you don't need a gun. Maybe you need to just be a police officer that, you know, drive around and check people.
Right. Maybe
just
you need to be a rent-a-cop, you know? Like,
exactly. Maybe you need to be a rent-a-cop. If you want to be a superhero, you might need to just be security somewhere without a gun, with a flashlight or something.
100. And another thing too, I think it's crazy that like a lot of the police officers that are patrolling like, you know, our communities are not from our communities, you know what I'm saying? And they don't really understand. Like maybe they from like, I don't know, maybe they're from like 2 hours away in the country where they don't see a lot of black people. You know, they don't know anything. So, and they start watching TV and you see how they portray us on the media. You know what I'm saying?
That's the only thing they consume. If that's the only thing they consume, that's the only thing that they see. Of course, our media, our music too is a big part of it. They can't separate the real from entertainment like some of us can't, but it's even worse for them because that's all they see. Even if you are in a suit, he was a lieutenant with his rank on his chest, and he was in military uniform. And that still didn't matter. That didn't matter none at all. No respect, nothing. It didn't matter.
It's almost like he got less respect for being a lieutenant, because it was almost like, is you a real lieutenant? You ain't no lieutenant. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's exactly. He was like, "What's your rank? What's your rank? What's your rank?" Yes. And just to, you know, kind of go back on that one, but even, you know, back in the day, World War II, Vietnam, our veterans, especially of color, were coming back and receiving no respect. They were,
Mm-hmm.
still falling victim to racism, prejudice, getting redlined. It didn't matter. Drinking at different water fountains, using different bathrooms. Even after serving the country and putting their life on the line for a lot of our freedoms, they were still coming back home to this. And that was the sentiment back then. Even they knew it. They were like, "Yo, we're going over across seas to kill black and brown people that look just like us." But then we go back home, and the people who were serving and were protecting, of course, we're a big melting pot here in the U.S., but we're still being discriminated against from the other side. So
Right.
and we're still seeing it today. And this was clear. This was like this is something exactly that you would see in the textbooks, like no respect for our veterans or our active duty members of color.
Right. And it's like they're fighting for, and that's a whole nother topic, but fighting for our freedoms, right? Which, I mean, we know US like to bully people, so I don't want to make it
Yeah, yeah,
seem
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, the army's a good thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But let's say they're fighting for our freedom like they say, and that's what the country believes. So if they really believe that, why aren't they getting treated with respect? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And it's like they're fighting for our freedoms, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then they come home and it's like the freedoms that they are fighting for, or what they say they're fighting for, they're not even getting, you know?
Yes, exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
And like America really pushes that, like take care of our veterans, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's a big thing here.
Yeah.
But if you black, that just goes out the window, I guess.
Yeah, it's always
Right?
take care of our veterans, but I forgot what the stat was for like veteran. I don't want to say the word, but um, veteran suicide. It,
PTSD, that's
yeah,
huge. Not
PTSD.
getting the
I
right
think,
help.
yeah, and VA lines are long.
Mm-hmm.
Benefits are getting mixed up as far as veterans and active duty members receiving them. So, but we always say, "Oh well, these people are disrespecting our country and this and that." We seen it with Colin Kaepernick. He took a knee, and people were advocating for the military. Oh, this is ridiculous! It's so much disrespect. Why are we not getting the same uh, uh, outrage for Lieutenant Nazario?
Yeah.
Why don't we have that same outrage? And Colin Kaepernick didn't even put his hands on a vet nor active duty member.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we getting that same outrage? And these are some of the inconsistencies and some of the just fallacies that are portrayed in this society, especially in the US. It's crazy. Where's the outrage? They literally bullied this lieutenant, and he was complying to the best of his knowledge and his ability
Yup.
as a black man in the US. There's literally no other steps you
Right.
could have told him to do other than maybe unbuckle his seat. But then I can go against that and say, hey, if he reached for it, we would have had another situation like this. Or
Right.
had a
That's putting his
situation
life
like
in
this.
danger.
Exactly.
And because he's a lieutenant associated with like the army, we all know that they know probably have guns and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So what if the officer thought that? That's probably what's going through his mind too. You know what I'm saying? So
And that's another thing, you know, even going back to Daunte Wright, you know, even him being young, and then the officer just having so much game, even if let's say he got away, ran off, cool. There's gonna be another opportunity to get this person. There does not have to be death. There doesn't need to be any escalation. And I think, and I'm not gonna tell them, what ways to exactly train, getting back into our topic, but there needs to be some more layers to this because it seems too easy. It's like they're giving anybody a badge. That's what it feels like.
yeah, for sure. Like there definitely needs to be more, just more careful training, precautions, and especially when it comes to our communities, because it seems like they get up in there and police is just scary.
Yeah.
Right away they on defense, they yelling, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I know they got the money because all the police officers got Hellcats. All the police officers got SRTs. I know they got the money.
The
I seen
unions be
a
taking care of them
I,
too.
I
So
seen a police officer police car that was a Tesla. I know they got the money for the training. I know y'all got a couple more courses y'all can teach these police officers when they're in high stress situations. Because
right.
this is not the only profession that has high stress situations. Of
Mm-hmm.
course they got to deal with criminals and they probably run into them more, but this is out of hand. Like, and it's starting to get to the point, you know, there's no accountability and there's no training. The training isn't good.
No.
And that's a disaster. And it's a negative impact on our community and our society as a whole. They have no, you know, they have no leash on them. They have nobody correcting them because they're all looking out for each other. So it's like they're moving at, they're their own entity here. They calling the
Right.
shots.
And the unions are backing them up too. You know what I'm saying? The unions have police unions have a lot of power. You know, there's a big history with that. They're getting backed every time, it seems like, you know.
Yep.
Kind of like that gang, right? You know what I'm saying? They just gonna help them out regardless.
Yeah, they got
You
somebody
feel me? Even
funneling
if
the
they wrong,
bread to
like
them. You know, they get new whips every day. Cause
yeah.
if I see a next, they gonna have a Challenger. I know it. I know the only reason why they don't have a Challenger is because it's a 2-door. That's the only reason why
They do have challenges though.
no,
Like the
they got the
undercovers.
Chargers. Yeah, they do got the I believe it. But
Yeah,
Chargers.
I've seen some challenges. Yeah, they got all that. Like
Yeah, they making sure they keeping up to you for simple traffic violations. Because nobody else's car is going 797 miles per hour. They don't have that much horsepower. Nobody else's car has that. And then after getting out of the car, you're pulling up with guns ablaze. That is different. That's if you take away all of that and you just describe that to somebody, if you take away the uniform, because essentially the uniform is just a protection for them, because they don't have any accountability and they don't live by any rules except for, you know, hey, we're silent when something bad happens instead of just correcting themselves. So if you take away the uniform and stuff like that, man, hey, that sounds like a true Atlanta gang out there. They going crazy. They somebody real. I'm scared of.
Right. Know what I'm saying? All right. So the next step we want to go into, right? We want to go into like, you know, some plans or solutions, right? You know, what we should be doing in our community, because we can't really control what other people are doing, but something we can do is we can work on ourselves, and we can work on something that we should do. And I guess one point I should bring up, I feel like we should try to start policing our communities. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like we should try to like make a bigger push, maybe to try to de-escalate situations or try to clean up neighborhoods before the police got to get there, because we've seen time and time again, right? You know, even if somebody's committing a crime, not all crimes equal death, but when the police show up, it seems that way, right?
Especially nonviolent crimes.
Yeah, you know, let's say somebody off drugs or tweaking out, or they mentally ill. There's some brothers and sisters out here who police might shoot them because they don't understand how to deal with somebody that's having an episode or something. And they not, you know what I'm saying? They don't deserve death. Maybe they need to get taken in, and you know what I mean? But they don't deserve to die though, you know?
Yeah, that's facts.
But yeah, you know, maybe there should be some things like policing our own communities, right? Trying to clean them up, trying to keep people in check before the police have to get there. Because when they come, you know, we don't know what's going to happen, but then in the back of our mind, we do. And when I say we don't know, like, it could just escalate. It could be just a regular situation.
It could turn up.
And it could lead to somebody dying.
Level. That is
right.
Yep.
I'm saying.
I seen a video. I was just going to say, I seen a video just to speak on that point. I seen a video. I think it was like a restaurant owner of like a food truck. And they had a meeting. It was a woman, and she had a meeting. She ended up having to call her husband because the meeting started to escalate with one of the people she was involved with, as far as business. It started to escalate. So she called her husband. Her husband came. The guy tries to pull a gun. And so the wife goes to call the police, and she's letting them know who's the actual criminal in this situation. And then even when they come, she stops the police at the door, you know, while her husband is still restraining this man who has a gun or a weapon trying to hurt them. She stops the police at the door to let them know, like, hey, do not shoot my husband. Don't shoot my husband. And that's sad that we even have to give like simple rules and outlines to not be killed in such situations where we need help. You know, it just kind of sent home and shot home the message for me that, you know, we have to talk to them in baby in code. Like, we have to talk to them like they're young, like they're adolescent, and they're not mentally mature, because they're so gung-ho and they're so ready to get the job done and execute, and what they've seen in media and what they've been taken in from peers who may have certain values or certain views of our community, that they're automatically like, hey, whoever we see, black or brown, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be the criminal. that's literally what it feels like. So for her to even have to do that before they walk inside of a situation where it's threatening to them and say, hey, don't shoot my husband because somebody else was trying to shoot him, is crazy. That is baffling to me. But on our point, as far as ourselves, police in our community, that has been brought up for years now and decades.
Like with the Panthers, you know, and if you haven't tuned into our second episode, Judas and the Black Messiah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, go
We
ahead.
we
Go
we
ahead.
talk we
Watch
talk
that.
we talked about the Panthers, and yeah, you know,
Go
that's
ahead. Watch that.
yeah, for sure.
But also, you know, we need it, and it's crazy because even while I think of situations that we can do, so many things, you know, can pop up and arise. But I am gonna just I'm gonna stick with, you know, police in our communities, still educating our communities on, you know, proper procedures when we do run into, you know, the other side or even police, in order to make it home safe, get home safe. And that's sad to even have to say when encountering somebody who's there to protect and serve, and supposed to make sure that they're keeping us safe. But you know, get home safe, because it's difficult. I know mamas and aunties, just the whole family are hurt in all these situations. Even the world feels it. The United States, us as a community, feel it. And we definitely don't want to keep running into these situations, but making sure that we get home, that's the biggest thing. Make sure we get home and out of those situations. I feel like, you know, and figuring out, you know, other than that, I don't want to get too deep into what we need to do, because oftentimes it could be anything, you know, playing with a toy gun, selling CDs, you know, selling loose cigarettes, walking down the street,
Right.
you know, basic traffic stop, counterfeit 20. It literally could be anything, and there goes our life. So I don't want to get too much in what we need to do, because then it just solidifies that people are out there to harm Black and brown bodies. It's kind of solidifies that if I start getting into ways that we need to train ourselves and be skilled. But as far as us, of course, cleaning up the community, being involved with the kids and the children, the youth within our communities, and policing ourselves, man, checking things that need to be checked immediate, you know, even with people who live that life, the street life, you know, tapping in with the OGs, and the OGs actually giving valuable advice to these young guys. So they're not making any mistakes out here, or get caught slipping by, you know, another gang, which is the police. So
Right. I mean, I do want to say though, like, I mean, I also think it is important. Like I said, it's not like focusing on us, like what we need to do, because if they're supposed to be protecting and serving, right, you know, that's what they're supposed to be doing. But yeah, like you said, it is like, you know, like I know when I was a kid, like my mom kind of taught me a thing or two. Like she'd always like say if the police ever like stop me, you know,
yeah,
ask for my mom or stuff like that. But also some important things too, like I've watched a lot. I've watched like some videos on this and stuff. Had some experience, but it's like, you know, asking them like, because they have body cams on, and not to say they can't turn them off and stuff like that, which is crazy to think about, but just try to remain calm. You know what I'm saying, and just live the fight another day. You know, like I said, it's always better. Like if you can figure it out at the station and they wrongly did all this stuff to you, I mean, you could sue them too, stuff like that. But yeah, it's just, you know, just live the fight another day, I think is like a big thing, right? Even though, because I don't, you know, we might have a lot of anger towards the police, right? I might be angry, like, why you messing with me? Why you, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But yeah, you know, it's just important, man. Just live the fight another day. You know what I'm saying? And it comes with like a militant mindset, right? Just be strategical with what you're doing. You know, don't even give them a reason, right? And
yeah.
like Sam said earlier, right? Like some of the times people get killed, it's like, I don't know, like you said, walking down the street and they want to mess with you and it
I could
escalates.
tell,
You know,
I could
like
tell you all the orders. I could tell you, hey, I'm reaching for my wallet right now. You know, you still might let it off on me, which is crazy, just because you know I have. But yeah, keep going. My fault, but
yeah, but
it's
yeah,
just so many instances.
yeah, yeah. It also is important too. Like, you know, try to remain calm. You know, ask them, you know, am I being detained? What crime have I committed? Right, and then if you're not being detained, if you ain't committed a crime, you could ask them, am I free to leave? If they say you're free to leave, you're free to leave, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just stuff like that, you know, just got to be strategic and just live to fight another day, right? And might be angry. Like I know when I get messed with, you know, it's like, dang, why you messing with me? Like,
Yeah.
no, I just want to take off, but it's like,
Yeah, and that
live to
goes
fight
into
another
a
day,
whole nother thing when
yeah,
emasculating a black man, because they
mhm,
do it. They'll him saying, the Lieutenant Nazario saying, "Hey, I'm scared. I fear for my life," and the officer basically saying, "Yeah, you should be." That's one of those instances where me in my head, I'm what you said, not saying I'm gonna do that in person because I'm gonna have to, like we said, live to fight
yeah,
another day.
deal with
But
it. Yeah.
in your head, it's like, dang, he took a shot at, me, at who I am. He's trying to emasculate me, make me feel lesser than, something this country is notorious for.
Right. And what was I gonna say too? Oh yeah, and then like we are in enemy territory too. You know, we got to understand that. So if we want to wild out, like that's a choice you can make, but we don't have nothing to protect us from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we also you got to move different when you're in enemy territory, right? We don't have a nation of our own right now. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a lot of control of our communities. We don't have the resources. So we just got to think about how we're moving. And that's just part of being militant, right? You know, just be disciplined, be militant. You know what I'm saying? Just live to fight another day.
Facts. We need Soul Town, man. We need
Oh yeah, we need Soul
we
Town.
need Soul
If y'all
Town.
ain't watch our last episode that was part one
Yeah,
actually.
that was
We
part
talk
one.
about Soul Town. I like
Yeah,
that was
go.
catchy.
Yeah, shout out to Ashley for that again. But yeah, we need Soul Town, man. Keep investing into your community. And I don't want to leave this podcast off on a sad note or anything like that. But invest in your community, uplift the ones that's trying to make it out, man. And talk to the youth, even if it's little simple, simple little facts, or trying to help them move on to the next, trying to help them be entrepreneurs, trying to help them just learn any piece of information that the K through 12 system isn't teaching our babies. And also live to fight another day. We stronger with our numbers, even though it seemed like they picking us off, but we stronger in our numbers. Um, and I will say this: I'm kind of getting tired of the rioting, but I know it's making an impact. But I think we need to start thinking of plans after now. I don't want to keep eating just the rioting or the protests, which are good ways to make our voices heard. But I want to know the next steps. And we gave a couple, and we need to all follow under one program, and we need to have a code, like we said in our
Right.
last two previous episodes. We need to have that code that we live by.
Yeah, 100. Yes, especially when you talk about like the protesting and stuff. It's like, yeah, really protesting what that is, right? It's just okay, getting our voices heard, stuff like that. But we've been protesting for how long?
Mm-hmm.
We've been marching for how long? Man, we don't march all around this earth. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, when is it time to have our own communities, right? Because just marching don't work. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody's bullying you gonna march. You know what I'm saying? If somebody bullying you at school, you gonna march around the playground.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gonna say, please don't hurt me. Nah, you know what I'm saying? You either gonna defend yourself
Or
or you
separate yourself.
or you're gonna separate yourself, but then you also gonna protect that. So when he come back, you got something for him. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's to me, that's just how I think, right? That's just how it's gotta
Another
be.
community do it. So anybody
Mm-hmm.
from the other side that's listening, fuck you. But every other community is doing it. So we need to be on par with them. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to start getting up to that standard because this is out of control.
100. All right, anything else you want to end on?
Nah, I'm good, man. Y'all be safe, please. Make it to live another day. R.I.P. Daunte Wright, man.
Yeah, Daunte
Prayers
Wright. Yeah.
for him and his family, and hopefully with the George Floyd case, that ended up going up in the right direction too. I know they putting up barricades for everything right now, but
Oh yeah, it's crazy. The whole county got like barricades and barbed wire on it, like because I got to drive by there. You know what I'm saying sometimes, and yeah, they got shops boarded up around there. Like it's almost like we know the outcome, right?
Yep. And
You feel
so,
me?
and what they gonna do, how the justice system treats us, but stay around your people. Stay around your people, man. Stay safe. Our numbers are huge in all situations. Our numbers are huge, so make sure you stay around your people. And at night, when traffic stops, make sure you stop in well lit areas. All that good stuff. Remember that stuff. That's just a little advice from me, even though that we see happen all the time with different situations. But that's my advice, man. That's all I got.
Yeah, 100. And also, I'll leave y'all off with, so today's the first day of Ramadan, you know what I'm saying? So,
Salute to y'all.
Ramadan Mubarak, to all the believers, all the Muslims, right? But yeah, I'll just end it on that note, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Deuces.